What's up, everybody? It's your girl Rosey Wisdom, and this is part 2 of how I was homeless, but it was purpose. Now, I left off with the last video, and what I also wanted to mention was in 2021, when I came back to Texas, when Jesus brought me back to Texas, he foretold unto me that concerning your vehicle, you're gonna either get it fixed or buy a new one. Now, of course, all throughout the year, I was getting it fixed. So I'm thinking that's what he was talking about. But that actually wasn't what he was talking about. And what had happened was I had gotten into a car wreck. I wrecked my truck. And mind you, before I even got the truck, which I mentioned in one of my past videos, how when I was on my way out of hell's doors and leaving Pharaoh, now he said, get a truck, you're gonna need it. Spend this much amount of money in XYZ. I explained some of that up in the past video, but I did mention that he did say get a vehicle, and to be precise, he said get a truck, you're gonna need it. And kid you not, here I am in 2023 homeless, and that truck was the perfect vehicle for and big enough. It was big enough. We needed that space for me and my family to live in and get through whatever storm we was going through. Now back to the part where he said concerning your vehicle, you're either going to get it fixed or buy a new one. Now, moving forward, there was a time when I was in a hotel, and I was like, if I only had a little bit more money, you know, I already had trust God. Let me tell you something. Jesus has showed me so much how he's there for me. And just like I'm obedient unto Christ, Christ showed me that, hey, this is a relationship. We're together. You know, you don't have to worry. Fear not. You know, just do what you need to do and watch what I do. You know, I got you. But I also had to keep putting forth effort. Christ ain't just gonna do anything for you and you're not doing anything for yourself. Let's keep that in mind. So moving forward, there was a time when I was like, oh, well, if I had a little bit more money, I could do this. Because even when I was looking for apartments to try to move out the hotel, they wanted all these application fees and unnecessary fees, hundreds of dollars at that. And I'm already in a hotel paying $800 and something every 2 weeks. But the thing about the hotel was, once I was there for 30 days, I no longer became I then became it's almost like a tenant in a hotel. So the taxes got knocked off. But it went from 800 something to 700 something. Still spending over a stack every month. Still spending over same amount basically in my apartment month. There I was spending just without utilities. That's all. So, but during my first 15-month lease, because I'm renewed now, but during my first 15-month lease, that was another thing that I learned. I learned how to pay my utilities. You know, I learned how to pay my rent, because I really didn't have to do these things, and I didn't really endure these things faithfully, continually, as an adult. So I can honestly say I was late in being responsible, and everything happened for a reason, and my timing came late, but who knows what the future is, how Father got it set up for me. Because although I started responsibility late because I'm on it, who's to say I'll get blessed fast forward or speedily? But I'm not even thinking about that. So with me having these thoughts, oh, I just need a little bit more money to do this or do that, I asked Jesus, if he could open the door for another job, for me to get another job. Because at first I was looking for jobs, but it wasn't happening. And so a door opened. I started working for UPS. Now, when I started working for UPS, the idea of working a second job was to make more money with what I was already making. But what ended up happening actually is UPS know how to not allow employee to go over a certain amount of hours, which is petty, because they paid $21 an hour. So it was very petty. I learned they bogishness and they pettiness being there a couple of months. But what UPS did, it canceled out my main job. So UPS was a side job. It was only like 3-4 hours a day. But it canceled out my main job because I was going to UPS, had to go to the hotel, wash up, get dressed, and go to the other job. But I was getting to my main job late. So it canceled out my check. So it only actually balanced that out to the original payment. So I'm like, nah. But kid you not, July 4th, 2024, I got into a car wreck, a 3-car collision, and I walked away with no scratch. The other people involved walked away with no scratch. It was just the gentleman in front of me, his car had got pushed in a little bit, but I had overexerted myself. Now I look back at that time and I'm like, this is where I learned that there's a difference from trusting God and wholeheartedly trusting God. See, I trusted God. I done been with Father God and Jesus Christ enough to know that I could trust him, and Christ told me he trusts me. So that was a big deal, by the way. That's another experience for another time, maybe or maybe not. But so there is a difference from trusting Father God and Jesus Christ versus wholeheartedly. And if I did trust Father God and Jesus Christ wholeheartedly, then I wouldn't have had those thoughts of I need a little bit more. You know, if I only had, I would never had those thoughts. And because I tried to do too much, and Christ did open that door. He said, okay, go ahead. He showed me basically I didn't really need it. But let me tell you how amazing Christ is, because in the midst of my car wreck, in the midst of me being homeless, Jesus showed me not only that how to be responsible and to be responsible. He showed me another issue that I had within myself that I would have never seen if I never got in that car wreck. That car wreck also was purpose. And I'm going to tell you that. First off, it was already foretold unto me. So, that's a purpose right there. But the purpose was for Christ to show me how my health needed help. Yes. When I bought my truck in 2021. I got in a wreck in 2024. So for 3 years, kid you not, I wasn't walking nowhere. Who? Rosie? Nah, I wasn't walking nowhere. Imagine this. You go to a store, you park your vehicle, you walk a few steps inside this place. You walk a few steps inside this place. Heck, you got a parking lot, so you park your car inside your house and you just go up the stairs. I'm not walking or moving unless I'm at a job outside the work. I wasn't walking or moving unless I was at a park with the kids or whatever. But kid you not, I am over 200 pounds. Might not look like it right now, but if I stand up, you're gonna see all shape of body and belly. But my heart, I noticed. Now mind you, car wreck, so how I'm gonna get to work? There's a will, there's a way. That's my motto. There's a will, there's a way. So city transportation, here I come. So I'm on a bus and train. Although my job is 15-20 minutes away from me, 15 minutes away from me, On our bus and train, it took an hour, sometimes longer than that, and it was so irritating. But that's what it was. That's what I had to do. I wasn't gonna not do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a mother. I got all my kids. I gotta get this money, so I have to show up. And I'm not a quitter, so it didn't stop there. So I'm on the city transportation. It was irritating, especially during whatever weather, rain, snow, heat. Ooh, hot times on the bus stop ain't no joke. But you know, I did my big one, and I kept it moving, you know. And kid you not, in the midst of not having a vehicle, not only did I see how unhealthy I was, I noticed my breathing was off. You know, I run a little bit out of breath, heart palpitations, all type of internal things that I'm feeling, and then my knees start hurting, all type of stuff, and I'm like, where's all this stuff coming from? God was showing me a part of me that I needed to work on. And I realized every time Christ is showing me something that I need to work on, it was for the betterment of what's to come. So it's either get it done now, or take longer to get it, or if something is, I feel like something would be postponed if I didn't catch it, you know. And because I have discernment and understanding and faithful communication with Christ, daily communication with Christ, it wasn't hard to recognize it and act towards it, you know. So I started working out, cutting out sugar, doing things like that, all type of experiments, should I say, or challenges, shall I say. I would challenge myself to do this, do that. At one point, I got down to 205 or something like that. But for some reason, I'm fluctuating in the same space. But so in the midst of homelessness, I learned that my health needed attending to, and that was a big eye opener because I'm almost 40. Don't look like it, but I'm almost 40, and it's very vital for women of my age to not get stiff, to keep it moving, to stretch, exercise, and if possible, get flexible, stay flexible. So that's where I'm at with it. And lastly, I want to just show y'all the levels where Christ brought me since leaving Pharaoh, and how amazing Christ is. Now, when I first moved to Texas, I lived in an apartment. From an apartment to a hotel to a townhome. I went from having an apartment to a small room to big space. Like, I thought that one room, 2-bed hotel was small. Man, Father blessed me with a townhome. I'm gonna say my first townhome with Christ. And I say that I was paying for, because I had another townhome in Orton Keys when I lived in Rockford, but I didn't have to pay rent. That was on some I don't know, women in church and stuff, but I didn't have to pay rent. I just had to pay utilities, and I wasn't with Christ during those times. Was I with Christ? Margaret was just, she was the youngest. No, I wasn't with Christ yet. And it was amazing. It was amazing. So Christ leveled me up 3 times. He left from leaving Pharaoh, from leaving hell doors, went from an apartment to a hotel to a house. And ain't no telling what's next, but I bet you it's gonna be big. I tell you that. So there you have it, part 2 to I was homeless. From I was homeless with a purpose to I got into a car wreck and it was purpose. And that's the last part. It's no part 3. But until next time, I will share another experience with y'all. And as you can see, my background is It's now morning. I'm finna get off work, and this is actually my Friday, so I'm finna relax and drop some more videos. Y'all stay tuned. Hit the link in the bios. I'm gonna be reposting on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, RoseyRed777, and subscribe to me on YouTube, Ms.RoseyWisdom. And I don't be on Facebook, but because Facebook is connected to my Instagram, anything I drop on Instagram gonna drop on Facebook too. So too many gigabytes for me. I don't care how much I pay for my cloud or Apple. Facebook just too heavy, and I don't be on that. It's not really my forte. But all right, good talk to y'all. Thanks for listening, and like, support, and share. Bye.